You're 19 years old. You're standing on the deck of a British merchant vessel, somewhere in the Caribbean Sea. It's 1716. You're a sailor, and you've been at sea for 8 months. Your salary is £3 per month, which sounds decent until you realize the ship's biscuits are crawling with weevils, the water tastes like rot, and the ship's captain just flogged a man unconscious for talking back. You signed a contract for this voyage, but that contract means nothing when you're in the middle of the ocean. You're property. You're an asset worth less than the cargo of sugar and tobacco stacked below deck. Then you see the black flag. A ship is approaching fast. She's a sloop, sleek and nimble, with maybe 75 men aboard. The flag shows a skeleton holding an hourglass in one hand and a spear pointing at a heart in the other. Your captain orders everyone to battle stations, but half the crew doesn't move. They're tired, they're angry, and when the pirate ship pulls alongside and a voice shouts across the water, "Join us or die with your masters," 12 men immediately climb over the rail. You're the 13th. This is how it starts, not with adventure or romance, but with a choice between continued misery and a chance at something different. The pirate captain, a man named Benjamin Hornigold, looks you over. "Can you sail?" he asks. "Can you shoot?" You nod to both. "Then you're in. You'll get an equal share of everything we take. You'll vote on where we sail and who leads us. You'll eat the same food as every other man on this ship. Break the code and you're marooned. Simple as that." He hands you a pistol worth about £2 and a cutlass. This is more wealth than you've held in your entire life. The pirate code is read aloud that first night. Every man gets one vote in decisions. The captain and quartermaster are elected positions and can be removed by majority vote. You get compensation for injuries, 800 pieces of 8 for losing a right arm, 600 for a left arm, 500 for a right leg, 400 for a left leg, 100 for an eye or finger. All prize money is divided into shares. The captain gets 2 shares. The quartermaster gets 1.5. Skilled positions like carpenters and surgeons get 1.25, and everyone else gets 1 full share. No fighting among the crew, no gambling with dice or cards, no women allowed on board because they cause fights. Lights out at 8. If you want a drink after that, you do it on deck. The penalty for stealing from another crew member is marooning. The penalty for desertion in battle is death or marooning. You sign the articles with your mark. Your first prize comes 3 days later. A Spanish merchant ship carrying hides and cocoa worth approximately 2,000 pieces of 8. The Spanish captain doesn't resist. He's heard the stories. Pirates who meet resistance become brutal. Pirates who find surrender often take the cargo and leave the crew alive. The mathematics of piracy favor cooperation. You help transfer the cargo. Your share comes to 28 pieces of 8, which is 9 months' salary as a legitimate sailor. You just earned it in 3 days. The economics are undeniable. You're 20 now. You've been with Hornigold for a year. You've taken over 15 prizes. Your personal wealth has grown to approximately 800 pieces of 8, which you've buried on a small island, whose location you've marked on a chart, hidden in your sea chest. This is more money than your father earned in his entire life as a farm laborer. But the game is changing. Hornigold refuses to attack English ships. He considers himself a privateer in an undeclared war against Spain. The crew votes him out. A new captain is elected, Edward Teach. You'll come to know him as Blackbeard. Teach understands theater. He braids slow-burning fuses into his massive black beard and lights them before battle. The smoke frames his face like something demonic. He carries 6 pistols across his chest, each one loaded and primed. He's smart, charismatic, and absolutely ruthless when he needs to be. Under his command, your crew captures a French slave ship called La Concorde. She's a 200-ton frigate with 40 guns. Teach renames her Queen Anne's Revenge. You help mount additional cannons until she's carrying 40 guns, making her one of the most powerful pirate vessels in the Caribbean. The cost to outfit a ship like this legally would exceed £10,000. You've just stolen a floating fortress. Life aboard Queen Anne's Revenge is unlike anything you imagined. The crew is multinational: English, French, Dutch, African, even a few Native Americans. Former slaves serve alongside former slave ship crew members, which creates tension, but the code holds. Every man is equal in shares and votes. The food is surprisingly good when you've just taken a prize. Fresh meat, wine, vegetables. The surgeon, a former ship's doctor who joined after his merchant vessel was captured, actually knows what he's doing. He's got medical supplies worth hundreds of pounds, laudanum for pain, instruments for amputations, even books on anatomy. Your reputation grows. Ships surrender at the sight of your flag. Teach has created something brilliant. A brand built on calculated fear. Most of your prizes are taken without firing a shot, because captains have heard the stories. The few times resistance is met, Teach makes examples that spread through every port. A Spanish captain who fought back has his ship burned with all cargo aboard. The crew is set adrift in small boats. The message is clear: surrender and live, fight and lose everything. This psychological warfare is worth more than cannons. You're part of the blockade of Charleston, South Carolina, in May 1718. 8 ships trapped in harbor, and Teach demands a chest of medicine worth approximately 400 pounds. The colonial governor has no choice. To attack would mean the destruction of 8 valuable merchant ships worth tens of thousands of pounds combined. He pays. You sail away with medicine that will keep your crew healthy for months, and hostages who are released unharmed. The whole operation is bloodless, professional, and hugely profitable. Your share is 45 pieces of 8 for a week's work, but you're learning something darker about this life. The alcohol consumption is staggering. Men drink a quart of rum per day, sometimes more. The constant tension of knowing any sail on the horizon could be a naval warship creates stress that manifests in paranoia and violence. You've seen men hung for stealing from the common chest. You've seen a man marooned on a barren island with nothing but a pistol containing a single shot. The choice was his: wait for impossible rescue or end it quickly. The freedom you found has a shadow side. Absolute accountability with no appeals or second chances. Teach decides to take the king's pardon offered by Governor Charles Eden of North Carolina. The pardon, part of King George I's proclamation, offers amnesty to pirates who surrender before September 1718. You sail to Bath, North Carolina. Teach negotiates his surrender. He gets to keep Queen Anne's revenge and much of his wealth estimated at several thousand pounds. In exchange, he promises to give up piracy. You receive a pardon as well. Legally, you're a free man with no past crimes. You've got close to 1,200 pieces of 8 buried in various locations. You could buy land, start a business, live comfortably for the rest of your life. That lasts 3 months. The problem with legitimate life is that it's boring and poor. Working as a sailor again means £3 per month with terrible conditions. Starting a business requires capital and connections you don't have. And you know the sea. You know how to take a ship. You know where the merchant routes run. Teach is already back to piracy, using North Carolina as his base. Governor Eden is taking bribes to look the other way, probably earning more from illegal trade arrangements than his official salary of £400 per year. You sign back on. Your second career as a pirate is more calculated. You're 22 now, and you've learned the patterns. The Spanish treasure fleets sail from Veracruz and Havana, loaded with silver worth millions. Individual ships carry 200,000 to 400,000 pieces of 8, but they're heavily guarded, and attacking them means facing military vessels with professional crews. The better targets are the merchant ships supplying the plantations. Sugar, rum, slaves, manufactured goods from Europe. These ships carry valuable cargo worth 2,000 to 10,000 pounds and minimal defenses. It's a risk-reward calculation, and you've become an expert at it. You take prizes throughout 1718. A Virginia tobacco ship worth 3,000 pounds. A slave ship carrying 250 people from West Africa. A human cargo valued at approximately 7,500 pounds. This one bothers you. You were running from oppression yourself, and now you're part of an economy built on it. Some of the captured Africans are offered the choice: join the crew or be sold at port. 17 men join. They take the oath, sign the articles, and become pirates. The rest are sold in Jamaica through a corrupt merchant who handles illegal transactions for a 30% commission. Your share is 82 pieces of 8. You try not to think about where it came from. The Royal Navy is hunting you now. The British government has invested heavily in anti-piracy efforts. Warships patrol the Caribbean specifically targeting pirate vessels. The economics of empire demand it. Piracy is disrupting trade worth millions of pounds annually. Insurance rates for merchant vessels in the Caribbean have increased by 25% due to pirate activity. The British Board of Trade calculates that piracy costs the colonial economy over £100,000 per year. You're not just criminals, you're a threat to the entire economic system. Lieutenant Robert Maynard of the Royal Navy is assigned to hunt Blackbeard specifically. He's commanding 2 sloops, HMS Ranger and HMS Pearl, with 60 experienced sailors and Marines. He's been authorized to offer rewards: £100 for Teach, £40 for other captains, £30 for lieutenants, £25 for warrant officers, and £15 for regular crew. These are life-changing sums for working-class men. Suddenly, everyone is a potential informant. November 22, 1718. You're anchored at Ocracoke Island. Maynard's sloops appear at dawn. Teach knows this is different. This isn't a merchant captain trying to protect cargo. This is military force with orders to kill or capture. The battle is brutal. Teach fights like the devil himself, taking 5 pistol balls and over 20 sword wounds before he finally falls. You watch it happen. The man who seemed invincible, who built an empire on reputation and fear, dies on the deck of his own ship. Maynard cuts off Teach's head and hangs it from his bowsprit as a trophy. The message to every pirate in the Caribbean: the era of tolerance is over. You survived the battle. 15 of your crew are dead, 9 are captured, yourself included. You're taken to Williamsburg, Virginia for trial. The proceeding is swift. The evidence is overwhelming. Merchant captains testify about your attacks. Stolen cargo is inventoried and attributed to specific raids. The mathematics of your crimes are calculated. 23 ships taken, cargo valued at over £40,000, dozens of crew members assaulted. The British Empire has built a legal system specifically to process pirates efficiently. 13 of your crew are found guilty. The sentence is death by hanging. You're 23 years old, and you're going to die, not in battle, not from disease, but from a rope in a public execution designed to send a message. The investment in your trial and execution is part of imperial policy. The British government spends an estimated £50,000 annually on anti-piracy efforts, including naval patrols, legal proceedings, and rewards. Your death is a line item in the colonial budget. But something unexpected happens. You're literate, which is rare among common sailors. You can read and write well enough to keep ship's logs. The colonial governor offers you a deal. Testify against Governor Eden about the corruption in North Carolina, and your sentence will be commuted to 7 years hard labor. The choice is simple: die in 3 days or suffer but live. You take the deal. 7 years of hard labor in a Virginia plantation means working from dawn to dusk, planting tobacco, harvesting, processing your property again, just like when you were a sailor. But this time there's an end date. Your buried treasure, nearly 1,200 pieces of 8 hidden on 3 different islands, might as well not exist. You've lost the charts, and even if you hadn't, you're not getting to the Caribbean anytime soon. The wealth you risked everything for is gone. You're 30 years old when you're finally released. You've served your sentence. You're free but broken. Years of hard labor have damaged your body. Your back is scarred from the overseer's whip. Your hands are gnarled from plantation work. You've got about £2 to your name, which you earned from small jobs during your servitude. The pirate life that promised freedom and wealth delivered neither in the end. You settle in Virginia, working as a day laborer on the docks. You load and unload the same kinds of merchant ships you once captured. The irony isn't lost on you. Sometimes you see former crew members, the ones who took the pardon early and stayed clean. They're living quiet lives, their buried treasures funding modest businesses or small farms. They were smart enough to quit while they were ahead. You weren't. One day you're loading cargo when you see it. A small chest being transferred from a merchant vessel. The markings are Spanish. Your trained eye recognizes what's inside. Pieces of 8, probably payment for tobacco shipments to Havana. For a moment, just a brief moment, you think about it. How easy it would be to drop the chest, stage an accident, pocket some of the coins in the chaos. You know how to do this. The skills never leave you, but you don't. You're not that person anymore. You can't be. The British Empire spent decades and millions of pounds dismantling the pirate economy of the Caribbean. By 1726, large-scale piracy is essentially extinct in the region. The risk-reward calculation that once favored piracy has been fundamentally altered. Naval patrols make it too dangerous. Legal reforms make it easier to prosecute. Pardons and rewards turn pirates against each other. And harsh punishments, hundreds of pirates executed publicly, make the cost of failure too high. You're 45 now. You're working in a tavern in Charleston, the same city Blackbeard once blockaded. You pour drinks for merchants and sailors and listen to their stories. Sometimes young men ask you about the old days. They've heard the legends: Blackbeard, Hornigold, Calico Jack, Anne Bonny, Mary Read. They want to know what it was really like. They want the romance and adventure. You tell them the truth. You made more money in a single year of piracy than most men make in a lifetime. You ate well, voted for your leaders, and lived by a code that was fairer than anything the merchant marine offered. But you also buried friends at sea. You participated in violence that still haunts you. You owned nothing because you could keep nothing. The treasure you buried is gone. The freedom you found was temporary. The equality you experienced existed only in a floating criminal enterprise that the entire civilized world was organized to destroy. Was it worth it, they ask. You think about that 19-year-old climbing over the rail, choosing uncertainty over continued suffering. You think about the feeling of taking your first prize, the democracy of the pirate code, the brotherhood among outlaws. You think about watching Blackbeard fall, sitting in a jail cell waiting to hang, 7 years of hard labor in the sun. You think about what you have now, a steady job paying enough to eat and rent a room, no wealth, no adventure, but also no warships hunting you, no trial waiting, no noose calling your name. No, you finally say. It wasn't worth it, but I'd probably do it again, because that's the truth about the golden age of piracy. It offered men at the bottom of society a chance to be something else, even if that something else was doomed from the start. The British Empire had the Royal Navy, the legal system, and unlimited resources. You had a stolen ship and a dream of freedom. The outcome was never in doubt. You were always just a number on someone else's ledger, a line item in the colonial budget allocated to solving the piracy problem. And eventually, they solved it. They always do.